Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is already 2023. Hope you guys had a good Christmas and New Year's vacation, holiday, whatever you guys were doing, and I hope you guys are ready to talk about some more fishing videos. This was my first full year on YouTube. I did January to January. It was an amazing year for me. I can't believe all the support you guys did for this channel, and today we're going to go back and revisit one of my favorite videos from last year, which was 5 must-have baits for 2022, except this year it's going to be for 2023. And what the must-have baits thing is 5 baits that you absolutely have to have and fish. If you've never done it before, you got to try it out. It's been one of my favorite baits throughout the course of the year and something I'm going to use a lot on the channel this year, and baits that I'm really going to talk about a lot in a lot of videos. Or it's baits that I feel I need to improve on, or just some cool new baits that I think you should try out. Just what's out there in the marketplace today. These are the ones that I picked out, and ones that I'm going to experiment with a little bit more, or ones that I'm going to use a bunch. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off with one of my favorites. You know it already. It's going to be the Finesse Swim bait. I've been talking about it a ton. I hope you guys have already tried this thing out, but if you have not, this is one that's got to be on your list for 2023. What the Finesse Swim bait is, I fish it on a light bait caster like a jerkbait rod. You can put it on a spinning rod. I fish it on 12-pound test straight fluorocarbon. All this is a jig head. I use a 1/4 ounce jig head with a 2/0 Gamakatsu hook in it. I pour these myself. This is a 6th Sense Divine swim bait. You can pick your favorite size and color. This one is the 3.2 in Pro Blue. I fish the white one a lot. I also fish the 3.8s. They're a little bit bigger of a bait. Depends on what type of bait fish your fish are feeding on. This bait will work all months out of the year, but it specifically works really well in those colder water months. Winter, spring, fall, that's when I'm really throwing this bait. All you do is cast this thing out there and just slow roll it on the bottom and let that tail gently kick down there. It looks super natural and will catch a ton of fish. I've used it in ponds for largemouth. I've used it for largemouth anywhere, really. And most importantly, I've used this thing for smallmouth bass. I absolutely tear up smallmouth bass on this rig right here. So if you love to fish for smallmouth bass, no matter what type of body of water you fish, find a swim bait that mimics the bait fish that they like to feed on, size and color. Put it on a 1/4 ounce jig head, or you could go lighter or heavier depending on your water depth. Slow roll that thing around and catch a bunch of fish. I have a ton of videos on my channel on this guy already, so if you want to learn a little bit more about it, you can check those videos out, or there will be some more coming this year, I guarantee it, because we'll be going up to Lake Erie, pounding them on this bait, going some other places. It's a bait that I'm going to throw all year round this year and catch a ton of fish on, so it should be on your list as well. My number 2 bait is also going to be a swim bait. This is one that I absolutely love to throw, but with all the tournaments I had this year, I did not really get out there and fish it as much as I wanted to, because it is very technique and condition specific. That being said, if you're new to the channel, I've already announced that I'm going to be stepping back from tournaments a little bit and focusing even more on YouTube. So we're going to take some special trips just to go throw this guy around and make some videos for you, and that's going to be the Megabass Mag Draft. If you do not have this bait, you need to get some. They're amazing. They catch tons of big bass. They will catch small bass too. Not a lot of people believe it. I literally caught a bluegill on this once before. The fish that eat this thing, it's insane. I mean, I've literally caught 12-inch bass on it, no problem. That being said, it is the 6-inch version. I don't fish the 8-inch. Up here in the Northeast, 6-inch is the way to go, but it does catch a ton of fish, and it's one you absolutely should have. I've caught smallmouth and largemouth on this bait, big and small. Works no matter what. I keep it really simple on colors. I basically use bait fish colors, whatever is the main forage. Same thing with that other swim bait. Find one that matches what the fish eat in your body of water. Get a 6-inch version. You can fish it on a medium heavy rod with 15 to 20 pound test. It's not anything you need a fancy swim bait setup to go do, and it will catch you a ton of fish and build you some confidence on throwing those bigger swim baits. I know it has for me. I've noticed over the past couple years when I've been throwing this, I'll start throwing this bait when in the past I would pick up a Ned rig or something like that. I have more confidence in picking this thing up now and throwing it when conditions are right. We'll have some videos. I already have some videos on this one as well if you want to check those out. But it's just an excellent bait to catch a ton of fish, especially around the spawn. Pre-spawn, spawning, post-spawn fish, you've got to have one of these on no matter what. It'll catch a bunch of fish, and it's your entry point into big swim bait fishing. If you're interested in doing it, you've seen all the guys doing it lately. If you're interested in getting into it and dabbling your feet there, this is the one to start with. $12. You can use it on any setup you already have, and you will catch fish on it. I've caught fish in ponds on it. Anywhere. You will catch fish on this bait, and it will give you some confidence to go buy some even bigger swim baits and start throwing those. So Megabass Mag Draft got to be on your list for 2023. So this next one is going to be a very specific bait, and it's one that I kind of learned about this year. I played around with, did some experimenting. If you aren't new to the channel, you know that I started working with 6th Sense this year. I started to play around with some of their other baits that I haven't used before. I've been a big fan of 6th Sense for a while, but I've started using some of their other stuff that I've never got my hands on before, and I've absolutely fell in love with this bait right here this year. Didn't really do any videos on it. I wanted to spend a year to really get comfortable with a lot of the products before I started talking about them. So this guy right here, we will have videos on it coming this year, is probably the most versatile jig that's ever been made, and it can do everything. You can literally get one jig tied onto your rod and do all kinds of stuff with it, and we'll show you that in some of those videos coming up. This is going to be the 6th Sense hybrid jig. Comes in a variety of sizes, 3/8, half, 3/4. Basically the design to this head, it's a triangular shape with an inline line tie here. It will come through every cover that you can imagine. I've used the half and 3/4 ounce as football jigs and fished them offshore. I've used the half and 3/8 as flipping jigs, or even the 3/4 as like a grass flipping jig and flipped it around shallow grass, lay down, stuff like that. And more importantly, this one's my favorite, the 3/8 ounce. Specifically with this trailer, this is the Stroker Craw, also from 6th Sense. It has the twin tail grubs there. The 3/8 version, what I can do with that, I can flip cover while I'm going down the bank, so I'll flip a bunch of wood with it, and then when I get to a piece of bank that doesn't look very good, usually you just kind of stop fishing. You'll troll to the next cover. I can fish this as a swim jig in between. It'll come through grass or whatever, and the twin tail grubs will have the action I need as a swim jig in between the cover. So I can maximize my time fishing and not have to pick rods up, put them down, do whatever. You can use one jig all day. It'll catch you a ton of fish. Definitely one to try out this year. I was impressed with it, and we'll have some videos coming about this guy this year on how versatile it can be. And then for bait number 4, we got one other 6th Sense bait for you, one that I want to play around with a lot more this year. I did a little bit this year, but like I said, tournaments kind of got in the way. I got a little distracted from YouTube earlier this year. This is the 6th Sense Swank. If you know about this thing, you've heard about it from a lot of the tournaments last January, February, March. A lot of tournaments were getting won on this bait right here, or a lot of top 10 finishes. It's that crankbait that has that crazy L-shaped bill on the front of it, and it looks like it wouldn't even run correctly. What this is meant to do is kind of not replace a lipless crankbait, but fish in the same areas that you'd fish a lipless crankbait and give fish a different look. It's a very popular bait that was going around this year in some tournaments. I fish a lot of grass lakes, a lot of places where those fish hang out in grass and I catch them on a lipless crankbait, or they also hang around wood, and this is meant to be able to do both. So it's a bait that I want to play around with a little bit more this year. I think it's very interesting, and it can catch fish a lot better than some other baits in those given scenarios, as shown in some of those tournaments this year. That thing was blowing up everywhere on the Harris Chain tournament, a lot of those Texas tournaments. They were catching fish left and right on this type of bait. Comes in all different colors, bluegill shad, craw patterns, so you can do literally anything with this bait. So definitely get some of these, check them out. If you're interested in getting any of the 6th Sense baits that I did mention, if you want to support the channel, you can use my code Quince. You'll save 10% on your whole order, and it'll help me out a ton. These baits, Got to give them a shot this year. I'm excited to give them a try up here in the Northeast once we get the springtime conditions. Hopefully catch some pre-spawn bass on this guy right here. And the last bait for me for 2023 is going to be the chatterbait Minimax. I know this isn't new. They've been out all year this year, but I want to play around with this a lot more this year. I have a feeling this bait can work in a wide variety of situations. With everyone throwing a chatterbait now, it's one of the most popular lures out there. The Minimax might be able to catch more fish in those scenarios where they'd eat a chatterbait, but you want to show them something a little bit different. I've been rigging it up with the 6" juggle as a trailer. It makes it very slim and sleek, small profile. I think it'd be an awesome bait to fish around any type of cover that you'd usually fish a chatterbait in, where you just want a smaller profile. I've been doing that for a long time. When I fish areas where I know people are throwing a certain bait, I'll find a small version of whatever everyone else is throwing and notice that it'll get me more bites. Doesn't always get you the biggest bites, but it just catches more fish while you're out there on the water, and that's what we all want to do. So interesting bait to try around. The other place that I think it would really work is in these shad patterns. I fish the rivers a lot here in Pittsburgh, and what I think is those fish eat very small bait fish. I think with that small trailer and small profile, if I'm using this shad pattern around some smaller bait fish eating fish, we might even be able to catch some more fish doing that as well, and a more interesting way to catch them in places like the Three Rivers, which are usually a terrible fishery. So definitely some videos to come on these guys this year as well. Hopefully you guys got these on your list to fish. I think they're going to be an excellent bait in addition to finesse fishing, but finesse power fishing, where you can still fish a chatterbait, but it's just a more finesse approach. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you want to see last year's version of this video, go ahead and check this video out right here. 5 other baits that also still will apply for this year and be very interesting to fish. And hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any more of my fishing videos coming up for this year. We got a lot of interesting stuff on the agenda, and I'm excited to start making a bunch more videos for you guys and focus more on YouTube rather than tournaments.